Letter 12. Reflections upon visiting a childhood home. Greetings, Lucilius. Everywhere I turn, I see signs of my advancing age. Arriving at my villa near the city, I began complaining about my expenditures on a building which was falling apart. My property manager told me it was not his fault. He was doing everything he could. But the house was old. That villa was put up under my direction. What will become of me if stonework that is my own age is that decrepit? Annoyed with him, I seized on the nearest excuse to vent my anger. Those plane trees, I said, are obviously being neglected. They have no leaves. Their branches are terribly gnarled and parched by the sun. Their trunks are all discolored and the bark is flaking. This wouldn't be happening if they were kept fertilized and watered. He swore to me by my ancestral spirit that he was doing all of this, and taking care of them in every way. But the trees were getting old. Just between us, I was the one who planted them. When their first leaves came out, I was there to see them. Still angry, I turned to a man in the doorway. "Who's that?" I asked. "He's decrepit too." "You were right to station him by the door. He's on his way out, clearly. Where did you get him? Is it some whim of yours to take a corpse off someone else's hands?" But the man said, "Don't you recognize me? I'm Felicio. You used to bring your trinkets to show me. I am the property manager of Philostetus's son, your playfellow." "He's nuts," I said. "Has he now turned into a little child, and also my playmate? Perhaps so. He's losing teeth enough." Despite this anger, my suburban villa has done me a service. It has brought my age before me at every turn. Let us embrace old age and love it. It is full of pleasure if you know what use to make of it. Fruit is sweetest just before it spoils. Boyhood most attractive as it is departing. When one is devoted to wine, it is the last drink that brings the most pleasure, the one that puts you under, giving the final push to inebriation. Every joy saves its greatest delights for its last moments. The most pleasurable time of life is on the downhill side, but before the drop-off. Even the time that stands at the very brink has its own fulfillment. If not, then it has this at least. One no longer feels the need of anything. How sweet it is to wear out one's desires and leave them all behind. You might say that it is grievous to have death right before one's eyes. In one sense, death should be under the eyes of the young as well as the old, for we are not summoned according to the census. And in another, no one is so old as to be unjustified in hoping for one more day, and one day is just a rung on the ladder of life. One's entire life consists of parts, large circles enclosing smaller ones. One circle embraces all the rest. This corresponds to the span from birth to one's last day. A second encloses the years of young adulthood. Another binds one's entire childhood in its circuit. Further, a year contains within itself all the time periods which, multiplied, make up one's entire life. A month is bounded by a tighter circle, a day by the smallest. Yet even a day moves from a beginning to an end, from a sunrise to a sunset. That was why Heraclitus, who got his nickname from the obscurity of his sayings, said, "One day is equal to every day." This saying is interpreted in different ways. One person says that equal means equal in number of hours. This is true enough, for if a day is a period of 24 hours, all days are necessarily equal to each other, since night gains what is lost from daytime. Another says that one day is similar in nature to all other days, for even the longest stretch of time contains nothing that you do not also find in a single day, both light and darkness. The regular alternation of the heavens gives us more nights and more days, but does not change their nature, although the day is sometimes briefer, sometimes more protracted. Every day, then, should be treated as though it were bringing up the rear, as though it were the consummation and fulfillment of one's life. Pacuvius, who made Syria his own by possession, used to hold funeral ceremonies for himself, with wine and the ritual meal. After dinner he would have himself carried to bed as his catamites clapped their hands and chanted in Greek, to the accompaniment of instruments. "Life is done," they'd cry. Each and every day he performed his own burial. Let us do the same, not for bad reasons, as he did, but for good. Glad and cheerful let us say, as we go to our rest, I am done with living. I have run the race that fortune set for me. If God gives us a tomorrow, let us be glad to receive it. The happiest person, the most untroubled possessor of himself, is the one who awaits the morrow without anxiety. Anyone who has said, I am done with living, rises profitably each morning, having gained another day. Now is the time for me to bring this letter to a close. What, you say? Is it going to come to me without any payment? Fear not. It does bring you a little something. But why do I say little? It brings you a lot. What could be finer than this saying, which I now convey to you? It is bad to live under constraint, but nothing constrains us to live under constraint. How could it? The roads to freedom lie open on every side, many of them, and short and easy ones at that. Let us thank the gods that as we remain alive, we can trample upon those very constraints. But Epicurus said that, you might exclaim. What business have you with another's property? Remember, Lucilius, whatever is true is my own. I shall persist in showering you with Epicurus, for the benefit of those people who repeat their oaths verbatim and regard not what is being said, but who says it. By this, they may know that the best sayings are held in common. Farewell.